Welcome to Superhuman Selling. Today's conversation is for anyone who feels a book on their heart, whether it's an idea, a message, or a legacy that you know you are meant to share. Today, I am joined by Nena Madonia Oshman, founder of the Nominate Group, a global literary agency and book brand management company. Over the past 20 years, Nena has helped bring more than 1,000 best-selling books to life.
Come on.
Negotiated, come on, right? Negotiated over 7 million in annual book advances, closed book to film deals, and even helped authors land Grammy-nominated audiobooks. Hello. Today, she's pulling back the curtain on her proven process for first-time authors, the same process she teaches inside her new free part video series, Author's Ascent, which we will link here. I know I have so many listeners who want to write a book, feel the call to write a book. You are like best in the business, sister. I am so excited to have you. I'm so grateful to have you. I love you. We were chatting in the pre-chat. I was like, I gotta hit record, or we're never gonna record. Mom of four, running incredible company. Like, oh my goodness. Welcome to the show. I'm so glad that you're here. This is gonna
I
be
love the show. I love the show. I'm so glad to be here. I'm so glad to learn from you, and I'm just so happy. What was 4 years ago when we connected and we met, and I have to say, my life has changed, Elyse, so I'm so glad to just learn from you and listen and, be a part of this journey and help whoever needs help. I love saying whoever. Help you. You need help. Everyone wants to write a book, and I never want anyone to make a mistake. And not listen to that cue to publish their book.
Yes, yes, yes. Well, we're gonna get into it. And huge shout out to Rory and AJ Vaden, which is how we met. I want to just give them some love here because I remember connecting with you through them years ago. And so it's been so fun to see you create your company, do what you're doing. I would love to start with the difference between writing a book and then building a book as a brand and an actual business asset. So what's the difference, and how should someone be thinking about it who wants to write a book today? Because it's a different game today than it was even a couple of years ago. I know you and I were talking about that recently. How should someone be thinking about writing a book today to really be successful for their brand and for their business?
I think the book business evolves like well, the book business is always evolving. I'm trying to think of a good analogy, but I can't because it's one of those things where everyone's gonna say, "Oh, it's changing so much." Well, everyone changes every day, and we don't even realize it. So, publishing to me is, ever evolving, and for an author and for an aspiring author to try to be a part of that seems daunting, but it's really just you gotta just jump in and start writing. So, when you talk about the book business and then someone writing a book to create their business or make it a larger business, I think if you focus, this is like a whole thing that I like to talk about, at least. Like if you just focus on yourself and focus on who your audience is, then you're okay to be able to build your business and build your book brand. So I don't know if that answers the questions or makes it like just like a whole kind of broader thing to talk about. But yeah, I mean it's something that I always say to anybody, if you want to write a book, start writing it. Start putting it down, have a separate area um, of like a notes on your app or a or journal where you can just start writing because whether you have your business that's growing or whether you're working on, starting your own business, just the book is a separate business to itself. So start doing it. Start creating the business in the book.
I love it. Yeah. Well, and I think even with what you shared there, Nina, of focus on yourself, focus on, to me, the way that I'm taking that is what do you need to hear? What would be helpful for you? And then to me, there's a lot of clarity in that process because I think, especially for first time authors, it feels probably so overwhelming. What are some of the biggest limiting beliefs that you hear or you see from first time authors that you think hold them back from actually going for it and writing their book?
I can't do this. I can't do this on my own.
Mm,
I can't do this. Uh, this is no one will want to read this.
yeah.
It's the limiting belief of not being accepted is such an interesting, and I'm such the type of person where I'm not gentle. And so I know that someone writing their story is so important. So I have to really put on a different hat when I'm talking to someone who has such a major limiting belief of not thinking that their book is good enough. or not thinking that their concept is good enough, or not thinking anyone will read it,
Yeah.
I had to put on a different kind of mask because I know they want people to read it. I know they want someone to believe in it. And just to what you're saying, Elise, of, the author writing it for themselves, it is for them to believe in themselves.
Yeah.
And so for me to help them be the catalyst to get over that and to say, no, you can write this. Let's do it. Do it. Like, don't worry about if anyone's going to read it. People will read it.
Yeah.
Um, I have authors who have written 10 books that they still say, is this book selling okay? Are we doing okay? So it's like a constant limiting belief. I mean, I'm an entrepreneur every day saying, am I doing, is this good? Like, am I good enough? So you have to constantly battle the negative limiting thoughts to then be able to conquer what you really know is possible, what you can do. So I think for authors or for aspiring authors to just write, just put it down on paper, just put something down, workshop it with not a lot of people. I wouldn't talk a lot about it because then that'll start making you feel, it'll give you a high for a little bit, but then it'll start making you feel like, oh, it's too daunting. I can't do it. I can't make this happen. So
Yeah.
I think it's a really important factor to, when you hear, oh, I can't do this. No one's going to read this. Is anyone going to like this? Is to just say, no, I like this. I want to do this. And just completely continue to focus inward.
I think that's some of the best advice, not just for writing a book, but probably for anyone who's pursuing any sort of thought leadership, whether it's speaking on stages, creating your content. We were just talking about that in my consultant certification group earlier this week, how we get out of our power when we're creating something and we're so caught up in what are they going to think about it, whether it's a social media post, a podcast episode. And what I was sharing with my consultants is things really shifted for me when I started creating, and maybe it's like planning an event or planning a mastermind or creating a program. And instead of thinking about, oh, what will everyone think? Saying, well, do I like this? Does this get me lit up? And I think that that's how we can draw our power back to us. And I think I just think it could help people get so unstuck who maybe felt like they're not taking action because a lot of it, we're just so caught up in our heads about doing it, right? Anything else you would add to that?
No, because I just wrote down, draw your power back. I think people, you know, almost put your blinders on and you don't even need to tell anybody you're writing a book because then it's like, then it starts to become real before you do it. And so you live in that land of kind of powerless in a way, but you live in the land of, okay, well, I'm maybe working on that, but I'll work on it next year. Next year, you just keep pushing it down. But if you really just kind of like look inward and write every day or have like a sort of writing routine, I think it's helpful to then get your power back. I think that's a really important moment to again turn inward.
Mm. Now you have, so I understand you have 4 stages for someone writing a book from, and I'd love for you to just go a little bit deeper into these. So, uh, ideation, development, publishing, and post-publication, right? Can you
Yeah.
break those down a little bit more for us? Yeah.
So I think so in writing a book, there's 4 stages of publishing.
Mhm.
And then before you write the book, there's or actually when you're writing the book, there's 4 stages, but then the whole publishing process, I do it in like to 3. I have like a 3-pillar thing, right? So I think of it as you're writing the book, you sell your book, and then you promote your book. So it's kind of 3 stages of like how to actually work on building the book idea and the book process. So I'm trying to think of where do you want me to choose this adventure for you, Elise? Do you want me to talk about the writing part, or do you want me to talk about the whole process of what it like the umbrella? Like, where do you want me to take you?
Oh my gosh. I want you to take me wherever you wanna go. I would imagine most of our listeners now, some of them are published authors, which is very a lot of them probably have a book on their heart, but they feel like it's too daunting and they don't know where to start. So
Okay.
maybe
Yeah.
speak to them for this part.
I'll speak to them. Okay, so the first thing to do, I would say, is to first of all create a routine and create the writing routine. I'm trying to think if when you are have this idea and you're not telling somebody because you're keeping it inward and you're going to keep it kind of like almost like a budding business that you don't want to tell anyone about the idea yet because you want to keep it kind of
Mhm.
nurtured. And so there what I like to think about it, and I don't let's think about the numbers of this. I don't know if I can put it into numbers, but let's just kind of walk through it and I'll see if it has any sort of kind of spin to this, Elise. The first thing you do is you start writing down every single thought and idea that you ever wanted to share with someone. And if it's about the certain topic, like say, it's a product or a concept, and maybe it's a workbook, maybe it's a speaking engagement that you're going to turn into a book, write all of the concepts down so that you're really getting almost everything out of you. I have an author that calls it, I hate saying this because she says she calls it vomiting, verbal vomit.
I had a feeling that was it.
Anyway, I don't really like to talk about that because George Carlin always says there's things that you don't ever say online, and that's one of is don't vomiting. Anyway, so you put everything down on paper. So write every idea that you ever had on in your mind on paper, and it could be kind of off topic. It could be about parenting. It doesn't have to be about business. It doesn't have to be about could be about fitness routine or wellness, but get everything down in a big document that then you can start pulling together of like certain ideas and concepts that sound similar. And that's where you can start organizing what your thoughts are that turn into chapters. So that's the first kind of piece that I would say is like the most important as when you're getting started. And then you work on a proposal. So that's when, you call an agent or you call someone, a book doctor, a book manager, someone who can help you with the process because you don't want to do it alone at that point because you still look inward, but you still have to call in your mentors or friends that you can trust to then be able to put the concept together who again have done it before you. So take your power back, number one, I think is important what you were saying, but it's also looking ahead to say, who can I call on? Who's done this before? Who can I it doesn't have to be me. It can be someone who's written a book before that can give you tricks of the trade to get you to put everything down on paper, to get organized, to understand. Then the next concept is finding the hook. And the hook is that elevator pitch of, okay, how can I actually say this to someone in less than 30 seconds that I'm in an elevator? What is that? So putting it down on paper first, then working on, the actual chapters, then thinking about the hook. That's how I kind of think about it before putting together the proposal. But all this is you got to call somebody in to help and get some leadership help.
Makes total sense. Yeah, I mean, with anything where we wanna really be serious and ascend and grow, right? There's gonna be coach, there's gonna be help, there's gonna be, mentorship that's needed. I wanna get your take on for someone listening who wants to write a book, but they're not sure whether they should do self-publish, hybrid, traditional publishing. Maybe you can break down what hybrid publishing
I
because people don't always understand it.
Excellent.
How do we so number 1, what are they? Number 2, how does someone know the right path to go for them with their book?
Yep.
Yeah.
So there's about 8 type of ways to publish. I think the most kind of larger buckets are the self-publishing, the independent publishing or traditional, and then the hybrid. So hybrid I put in the middle, and then I think of self-publishing is you're doing it all yourself. You are doing the printing, you're doing the editing, you're doing the cover design, you're doing the warehousing, you're doing the distribution. That is self-publishing. On the other end is the independent or the um traditional, right? Where you have other people do it for you and they pay you in advance in order to publish your book in 3 categories, which is electronic, print, and audio. So that's the traditional way where you have someone else, um, you sell your rights to someone who's going to help you do that. And then there's some other gray area in that. And then there's hybrid where you're paying someone for distribution, you're paying someone to help you with the editorial. And hybrid in itself is something that I talk about every day with people because there's 2 types of hybrids that I kind of look at. And one is the author focused, author owned hybrid, and then the publisher editorial owned hybrid. And I'm happy to go into more details on that. And if anyone wants to kind of talk about that, but I think in terms of hybrid is you own the rights. You're paying someone to help distribute. You're paying someone to print. You're paying someone to organize the publishing experience. With all of those, I would say what the author owns and what the author has to be responsible for is everything. So you're the CEO. You're the one that has expectations that you still have to delegate to people to make sure, whether it's self-publishing, hybrid, or traditional, independent, that people are still doing their job. And I had an author yesterday, actually, Elyse, tell me, well, I've talked to so many authors who are trying to help me with what direction to go into these 3 categories that we're talking about. And he said, "Well, publishers don't do anything, so I'm not gonna I don't need to do traditional or hybrid. I'll just self-publish it because they're not gonna do anything." And I wanna challenge people because publishers do things.
Mhm.
Again, they distribute, they warehouse, they are editorial geniuses that, you're a genius in your field. I wouldn't expect you to know anything about publishing. So I think I wanna challenge people to think that publishers actually do a great job and they help tremendously. It's the matter of the expectations on the author of what they think the publisher should be doing, and
Mm.
that's can get cleared up with having people who, want the best for the book that can help you say, "All right, let's be honest here. There's no one to blame. Let's think about who can help. How can we get support with whatever it is that you're saying they can't do?"
Yeah.
So those are the type of categories, right? So it's self-publishing, you do it all yourself. Traditional, you have someone, they're paying you in advance, and then you're giving them a little bit of the rights to help. You still own the copyright, but you're giving them the rights. And then hybrid is you do everything, but you pay for everything. So that's
Mm.
kind of how I like to look at it.
Yeah.
Uh, and are there questions there before I go to the next thing? Do you have
Well, I'm curious from what you're seeing, does someone need to have a mega brand today or really be a celebrity to get a traditional book deal? Is that really the trend that's happening, or can people who need don't even
trend?
Yeah. Tell me.
I
What is it? Yeah.
The trend is people don't understand what traditional publishing actually means. So they think traditional publisher is the only way to go to be accepted, to belong, to feel good enough. And I think there's other ways to do it. So I don't, again, everyone has their own opinion. Every agent has their own opinion. But I really challenge an author to really think, okay, this is my business. Maybe the author needs the book to build the brand. Maybe the author needs the brand to build the book and it's a business card. The book is a business card, but maybe the book is a whole separate brand that then becomes a separate business that then is your umbrella. You're the whole kind of media conglomerate with the business as the book is a separate LLC. I don't know. There's so many ways to think of it. So at least I don't like this whole thing of like, do you need a traditional book deal? I don't know what that even means anymore because I don't understand. But yeah, so you need someone to buy the book, right? Because that's what I think people do miss out on is, all right, I'm gonna write this book. I'm looking inward. I'm getting my power back. I'm focusing on the concept. And then they look up and they're like, oh, I gotta sell this. How am I gonna I could sell this? So you do need to think about like the long term of what you're gonna do when and who's gonna buy the book. But I don't think you need a big brand to get a traditional book deal. I think you need to rethink what you're looking for. But also, I think it's what is the brand? What are you gonna do to sell the book? How are you gonna support the book brand?
Mhm.
And who's gonna buy it? Who's actually gonna buy it?
Yeah. Yes. Okay. So helpful because I know, to your point, things they're always changing, but I also just know within the industry, I think there's a lot of confusion for people and they don't that might even stop them from just like, oh, what route do I go with the publishing? So I think that helped break it down. I want to ask you one other kind of timely question before I have you share about the course and how people can get
Oh, right.
connected as well. So what's your take on AI in the writing process? What are you see? I mean, I know you can like what do you care about? I'm really curious what agents, what publishers are okay with, are not okay with these days. I mean, I think for a lot of people, not using AI to help them in the process would feel crazy again. It also could feel like not your authentic voice. So, what's your take on that? And what should authors who are serious about writing a book that's influential be thinking about with AI today?
I think you have to get it down on paper first. I know
Mm.
most authors use AI.
Yeah.
I can tell the authors that really depend on AI.
Mm.
And I can tell the authors that use it to enhance a concept
Yeah.
and to draw it out. Books, I was at, the International Book Fair, the largest book fair in Frankfurt, and, the concept of AI is not a discussion with the, publishing entity overall. Now, there are I think the main thing for AI with publishers is my work going to be taken and used in other ways, right? Is my copyright going to be exploited in things that I don't know? So that's where it's like, well, I don't know if I want someone to use my content free. And then I have authors that are like, no, just use everything. You take it, take AI, take it, and just make sure you source it. So I think it's still a gray area, but I think if in terms of your book, in terms of your content, and if you're going to use AI to supplement things, I don't think it should do that. I don't even think it should complement. I think you should write your book, and then if you need to clean it up, maybe using, your bot or whatever what they call it, your person, um, to help. Sorry, again, I'm in publishing, so we don't really use AI like that, but,
Okay.
yeah, so I think you have to use it. It's a part of every day, but I don't think it's something that you should use in your actual content because the content should be authentic to what you're saying. I do think people use it for marketing, and I think it's a great tool for taking your content and spinning it into 30-second clips or, 90-second reels. I think that there's ways to help you do that, working on scripts and anything, but I can tell when people use AI and, totally fine. There's no shame in it, but just make sure you've got depth to it to then make it grow, in ways. In fact, let me just say, I read a manuscript yesterday that did not make sense. So, I can tell the author is not looking inward, is not confident in what they're saying, and so had his person spit it out, and it true like, it doesn't even say anything, right? It's like 30,000 words of, I don't wanna say nonsense 'cause I know the concept's there, but it's not deep.
Yeah, yeah, and you can feel it. I mean, you can 100% feel it. I think that's an interesting line that maybe many authors or aspiring authors are getting to walk is, "Gosh, there's this tool that can help me get this done so much faster," and when you're emotionally connected to what you're saying versus you're not. So I think it's an interesting conversation it'll keep evolving. Tell everyone about your course, and I think for anyone listening, you heard a little bit, just a little bit of Nina's credentials at the beginning. We didn't go into, all of it, but I'm excited about this because I think this gives people the opportunity to be in your energy, to, have your guidance with the writing process when, traditionally, like, that's difficult to get because 'cause you're an in-demand woman. So, what is the course all about? How can people get it? I know that a lot of my listeners are gonna wanna get involved, so I'd love for you to speak about it.
Thank you, Elyse. Thank you. Well, I'm doing this for 20 years, and I even with our dear friend Rory Vaden, I mean, he was like my guinea pig, you would say, 20 years ago as I was picking and nitpicking his proposal. So in that process, when you're a first-time author, it is very challenging to understand and dissect your concept and dissect and understand what publishing should be for your book. And so I created the course. It's called Author's Ascent, where it's for first time authors who are just getting started and need to understand what to do to create a best selling book.
Mm.
And so I take you through those three concepts, which is how to write your book, how to publish your book, and how to sell your book. And I'm very excited about it because um, I still love selling books every single day. I just don't want people to make mistakes before they get to me. And I use Rory as the example because, the proposal is the most important document to create to then set you up and set your book up for success and for anything. And so to me, author's ascent is I need to get started. I don't even know where to go. And even if you've self-published and you've been burned, like let me help you not make that mistake again, and rehab whatever situation you have with your previous book. So again, first time authors, primarily nonfiction. A lot of people have beautiful fiction as well in children's books. I'm going to do something separate and like as a gift to people when they have a children's book, but this is really for nonfiction and for people who have that concept but really don't know how to get started and need to figure out what to do first.
Amazing, amazing, and where can people get it? Where can they connect?
Oh, you can go to the nominategroup.com. That is my main, that's my That's my agency's website. And then authorsassistant.com. It'll lead you there to the free videos and all the content that I can ever help people. But again, my whole goal and my purpose in life, I've finally, after being in this business, I know that I want to help 1 million authors publish their books. And so I am on that way. I'm on that journey. I can't believe I've published and helped so many people sell as many books. But again, I want people to not make mistakes. And so I want to just reach out to me. Reach out. Let me help. Elyse, I want to help you too with anything that you need. Anything you
Mhm.
need.
Oh my gosh. Thank you. Well, this is exciting. And I think one of the biggest takeaways that I am taking with me for everyone listening is really to trust that calling. That if you have a book in your heart, if there's something that has been speaking to you where you feel called to do it, it is not by accident. And anyone else who you see on the bookshelves as a bestseller or just getting their work out there, the only difference between them and you is that they just decided to go for it, and they decided that their story was good enough, and they decided that it was worth putting out into the world. And so I think just letting today be your reminder, your permission slip, whatever you need it to be, to follow that calling to write your book and to trust that that is coming through you for a reason. Um, Let today be the day that you take that action. And so we'll link everything in the show notes. Nina, thank you for all of your wisdom and for sharing your brilliance. I think that this helped. It helped me, and I know that it helped so many first time authors who are just trying to figure out how to navigate getting your work out in the world. So I so appreciate you and everything
Yep.
you today on the
I
episode.
appreciate you. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for your time.
Yes, yes, yes. All right, my listener, we will have everything linked in the show notes. Go connect with Nina, get your copy of Author's Ascent, get into her world, let her help you with bringing your book out into the world. And as we close, I want to remind you to trust yourself on your path to success. Remember that your desires are green lights leading you and everyone around you to a brighter future. I'll see you on our next episode.